So we finished talking about the 2003 Red Sox and how they got hosed over and blew a chance to be in the World Series and how the Marlins would have their way with them in a sense. But what if I told you that the drama of 2003 set up a drama for 2004? And yes, the same teams are involved, the Yankees and the Red Sox. It's unprecedented. But the fact of the matter is that the New York Yankees were hosed in 2004, but they did it to themselves. They had it right in their fingertips. And unlike the Red Sox, they had a better chance of winning their series. So let's take a look at the 2004 New York Yankees. You've got Jeff Diamond, you've got one man, you've got a hat, a bat, and that's definitely not all. You got the bleachers, got it from spring to fall, you got a dog, a drink, and that umpire's call. What do you want? Let's play what if. Okay. Okay, Cutter, do some what ifs. Okay, Cutter, do some what ifs. So the New York Yankees are the evil empire in everyone's eyes. Practically that they are hated. Everyone hates them. Their own mothers probably hate them. But the New York Yankees, when they started their franchise history, did not start in New York. No. People always get it wrong that the Yankees have been around the AL since 1901. In a sense, they have, but not in New York. They started life in Baltimore as the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles of the 1890s in those leagues actually were known as massive cheaters who would wet down the infield surface, purposely not cut the grass so that they could put balls in the long grass and then throw them in and then prevent hitters with long hits and all that. And they would do underhanded stuff by hook or by crook. Baltimore got a team for 2 years, but then they ran out of money. And so the city of New York, Manhattan, decided to put a team, American League team, just like the National League with the National League's New York Giants. So the Yankees were born and all that, but they were known as the Highlanders because they played at Hilltop Park. But then they moved to the Polo Grounds to share with the New York Giants for a decade before moving to Yankee Stadium across the way in 1923 as Babe Ruth christened that stadium with a big three-run home run. The Yankees were a decent team and all of that, but they weren't given much of a chance in the American League until they shelled out the $125,000 for Babe Ruth, and this is in 1919 money. To get as the Red Sox were tired of Babe Ruth being a massive distraction to the team, and they had a point. So anyway, $125,000 later, the Yankees got Babe Ruth from Boston. A few years later, they got Carl Mays from Boston, and the rest was history. So regardless of that, the Yankees knew what they were doing, and they became top contenders. And they lost the first few World Series in franchise history, but then they started striking on their own and winning titles galore in the late 30s, and then they had that string from 49 to 53, which they won 5 straight. They were still dominant in the 50s and 60s. Yeah, they lost a few World Series here and there, but they won a few, and they at least make the World Series. After 1964, they went through a dark period unheard of in Yankee lore since the 1910s, as they, for 12 years from 1964 to 1976, couldn't get to a World Series. They weren't even contending, if you will. They were broken. But somehow George Steinbrenner bought the team and got his tactics. And the Yankees kept winning World Series and going to World Series and getting people like Reggie Jackson and Dave Winfield somehow. Because free agency favors the brave. Fortune favors the brave. Then the Yankees from 1981, when they lost the World Series to the Dodgers, didn't go to a World Series till 1996 when they beat the Braves in 6. The Yankees were trying in the 80s and early 90s. They had some decent teams and all that. 85, they were close to dethroning the Jays as top team in the AL East. In 92 and 93, the Yankees were young and full of vinegar, and basically they were looking pretty good. And also the fact that George Steinbrenner couldn't interfere with the team because he was serving a 2-year baseball suspension for his conspiring with a gambler to destroy Dave Winfield. So with Steinbrenner at his side, the Yankees developed the core four: Jorge Posada, Derek Jeter, Andy Pettitte, and Mo Rivera, and they became Yankee legends in their own right. The Yankees in 94 got robbed of going to the World Series. They were the top team in the American League, but they got robbed because of the strike. I mean, they got robbed, but the Expos said, hold my beer. 95, the Yankees got to the playoffs, won the first 2 games of the LDS against Seattle, but had to win the next 3 in Seattle. I mean, Seattle were a division winner, so that's why Seattle got the next 3 games. And Seattle refused to lose, and the Yankees choked games 4 and 5 away. 96, they came back to the promised land and won the title, and then they had the dominance in the late 90s, early 2000s, as they won 4 straight titles from 98 to 2000. No, 2000. Well, they were looking for their 4th straight title in 2001, but the Diamondbacks beat them in Game 7, a classic Game 7 to be sure. The Yankees went to the 2003 World Series, got shocked by the Marlins, and then in 2009 they won the World Series. And unfortunately for Yankee fans, that's the last time the Yankees have won the World Series. They tried in 2024, but failed to the Dodgers. That one bitter inning in Game 5 just ruined them at Yankee Stadium. So let's take a look at the 2004 Yankees and see where it all goes wrong. So here's how the 2004 Yankee season played out. Of course, 2003 they took care of Boston against them next year in Boone. So anyway, the Yankees would play in Japan against the Tampa Bay Rays in 2004 for a couple of games because Hideki Matsui was making his triumphant return to Japan after signing with the Yankees. The 2004 Yankees won 101 games. It was the 3rd straight season of 100-plus wins, something they had never done in franchise history. All those World Series teams, even. So we're talking about their playoffs and all that. And it was after the 4th straight year the Yankees lost to the eventual World Series champions in the postseason. Because in 2001, they lost to the Diamondbacks in the World Series. 2002, they lost to the Angels in the playoffs, the LDS, I believe. 2003, they lost the World Series to the Marlins. In 2004, they lost to the Red Sox, who won the World Series. Only the Dodgers from 2016 to 19 have duplicated the same feat. Wow. So, anyway. In the offseason, they signed Gary Sheffield to a massive deal. They released Luis Sojo. They traded Nick Johnson and Juan Rivera to the Expos for Javi Vasquez because Montreal was on their last legs, if you will. And Vasquez was a good pitcher. Kenny Lofton signed with the Yankees, which was shocking. Kenny freaking Lofton. The Yankees traded Alfonso Soriano to Texas for A-Rod, which was big because A-Rod was ready to leave Texas. I mean, the Rangers were regretting that $25 million a year contract, so only Boston and the Yankees could afford this contract. So the Yankees made the offer to get Soriano, trade Soriano for Rodriguez, and put A-Rod at third base and put Jeter at short. So the Yankees won 101 games. The Red Sox won 98. Everyone else was below 500. The Blue Jays sucked that year. Derek Jeter made that great play on Canada Day against Boston, changing the stance and catching a pop-up. They even lost 22-0 to Cleveland at one point in a game, August 31st. I did not know that. The Yankees also had their Game 7 LCS hero, Aaron Boone, was not with the team anymore, as Boone had broken a contract over playing pickup basketball or something like that. Something that he was prohibited from doing in his contract, and he was released. Kind of a dumb move. Nevertheless, the Yankees struggled against the Angels. They were only 4 and 5 against them. They were 3 and 4 against the Tigers. Everyone else, they looked good. 12 and 7 against. Well, they were 8 and 11 against Boston and 12 and 7 against the Blue Jays. In the in the season, the White Sox traded Esteban and Loaiza to the Yankees on the final day trade on the main trade deadline for Jose Contreras. John Olerud even signed as a free agent into sport, and a familiar face, Shane Spencer, came back to the Yankees. The Yankees in 2004 had quite the lineup. They had Kevin Brown, who was a decent pitcher for the Marlins and the Rangers. Jose Contreras, Tom Gordon, Orlando Hernandez was on that team. Um, Esteban Loaiza was on that team. Mike Mussina, Moose, coming over from the Orioles, which was a shock. Donovan Osborne was on that team. Alcantara on that team, former Blue Jay and Canadian. Mo Rivera was still around. Javi Vasquez, sir. Catchers wise, Posada would be teaming up Flaherty and Navarro, who both were former Tampa catchers. Nico Cairo, speaking of former Tampa Bay Rays. Tony Clark on that team. Jason Giambi, mostly the DH. Derek Jeter, naming I Travis Lee for a little bit. John Olerud playing for the team, former Blue Jay, A-Rod, and Enrique Wilson. Outfielders Kenny Lofton, Hideki Matsui, Gary Sheffield, Ruben Sierra, and Bernie Williams. All very good players. They were struggling out of the gate in March and April. They only were one game above 500 in those months combined. In May, they put up plus 10. And then June was plus 12. July was 4. August plus 4. September and October 20 and 11 combined. So the main guys, Posada was catching. Tony Clark was the main guy at first base, which I felt awkward. Miguel Cairo at second. Derek Jeter short. A-Rod at third. Hideki Matsui left. Bernie Williams in center. Gary Sheffield in right. Ruben Sierra being the DH. Yeah, Giambi didn't play too much. Javi Vasquez tied John Lieber for the most wins on the team with 14. Mike Mussina had 12. Kevin Brown with 10. Contreras and Hernandez were the fifth starters, but Contreras got traded to the White Sox. With pitching, Mo Rivera had 53 saves. And then in the LDS, they took on the Minnesota Twins. They lost game one at home to the Twins 2-0, which was funny because that was actually the last time the Twins won a postseason game till 2023 when they took out the Blue Jays in that series, wildcard series. And then they won 7-6 in the 12th, 8-4, and then 6-5 in the 11th. So the Twins didn't make it easy on them. In the ALCS, the Red Sox, they went up 2-0 against the Red Sox on home turf, 10-7 and 3-1. They were supposed to play game 3 2 days later, but that was actually postponed due to rain. So then it was agreed because the Yankees and Red Sox were close together that the next 5 games in 5 days, so no off days in between. So game 3 saw the Yankees get a 19-8 win, and it looked like game set match. And then came Dave Roberts with that amazing steal off of Mo Rivera in the ninth. They got the winning. They got to hit the tie of the game, and then Big Papi off of Quantrill went deep to right field. And Joe Buck said, "We'll see you later tonight," because that game 4 ended past midnight, and then the next day they had to wait till 8 o'clock to play the next game, which they did in the 14th inning as the Red Sox win, and they can run to New York. Game 6 tomorrow. Yeah, it took 14 innings, but Loaiza gave up the winning run. And then game 6, the Red Sox win 4-2. Great pitching by Kurt Schilling, who had that tendon problem, but somehow he survived everything. And also the fact that A-Rod tried to cheat by slapping the ball out of Bronson Arroyo's glove to try to help the Yankees out. But the umpire saw that, and A-Rod was called out for obstruction. So then game 7 happened, and Johnny Damon in the second inning hits a grand slam. The game practically was over 10-3. It was unbelievable how the Yankees could be up 3-0 and then get taken out by two late game heroics. And then at home, they could they could have won Game 6 at home, no big deal. They fumbled it, and in Game 7 they lost 10-3. So that's what happened to the 2004 Yankees. Now let's see if they can get redemption. Well, then it's time for the sim matchup. We have the 2004 Cardinals and the 2004 Yankees going toe to toe. And a lot of people be like, well, who would win this one? As if the Yankees did get to the 2004 World Series. Now, assuming that they probably would have taken care of the Red Sox on home turf in Game 6. Mike Mussina would start Game 1 of the World Series against Woody Williams, who started Game 1 in real life. So the Cardinals' rotation is what they would have been in, like in real life. I don't know how they set themselves up and all that. So, like, especially at DH, but I just had to make a guess. Game 1 sees the Yankees crush the Cardinals 10-2. As Scott Rowland did hit a fly ball home run to center. And then Posada doubled to score Jeter. Matsui gets a single to score Posada. Make it 2-1. Ruben Sierra, after Giambi hits a single, gets a home run to center field, so Ruben makes it 4-1. And then Matsui single scores Sheffield to make it 5-1. And in the bottom of the sixth, Posada gets a bases loaded walk. Danny Herron came to pitch for the Cardinals, walks Sheffield with the bases loaded to score Sierra. Matsui gets a single score Jeter and Posada, and then Williams single score Sheffield. Pujols does get a single to score Womack, and then the Yankees decide to relieve Messina with Halsey, and he does his job. Messina goes 7 1/3, Halsey at 8 2/3. Woody Williams only goes 5 1/3. Danny Herron goes the rest of the way. So you can see, Game 1. Game 2 saw another double, well, a double M, a double W, but now double M, Matt Morris. So Kevin Brown does start Game 2 at home. As I said, that they won that Game 6. And the Yankees win 7-5. As Matsui hits a 2-run home run to left center. Matsui singled to score Jeter, and then A-Rod hit a home run to make it 5-0. So it looked good for the Yankees. Reggie Sanders taking an RBI double in the fourth to score Edmonds, but Cairo single went to score Giambi, and back goes Herron. Back goes Herron. Pujols got a 2 RBI double score Womack and Walker. Jim Edmonds gets a double score Pujols, and the big O-Dog Hernandez comes in to pitch, ruining Brown's chances for the win because of the 5-inning rule. Marlin gets a single to score Reggie, and Tom Gordon pitches. Cardinals tried their best in the 8th inning, loading the bases up with Quantrill, but Molina struck out and Womack grounded out. Cardinals then just hit a single to score A-Rod, and Steve Klein came in to pitch for the Cardinals. Will Rivera comes in for the save, only gives up a hit to Pujols. Everything else, he was fine. So Brown went 4 2/3, not enough for the win. O-Dog Hernandez did win. Gordon hitting 2/3, then Quantrill pitched the 8th and Rivera the 9th. Matt Morris goes 3 innings. Danny Herron 4 1/3, doing a little bit better. Steve Klein pitches the final 2 outs of the game. So the Yankees are up 2-0. Yeah, Tony Clark was the first baseman. So Supan pitched Game 3, and they go with Vasquez for Game 3. The Yankees do. Yankees would lose 6-5 as the Cardinals walked off the Yankees. Yankees were up 5-1 at one point. Well, Posada home run down the right field line. Then A-Rod gets a 2-run shot to make it 3-0. It looked good for the Yankees. Sheffield crushed one to make it 4-0. It looked like the Yankees were getting close to the sweep. Montreal singles to score Sanders, no big deal. A-Rod goes deep 5-1 in the sixth. And then Renteria, fielder's choice. Maffini singles. John Mabry comes in the pinch hit because it's no DH. And hits a single score Renteria. Klein comes in the pitch. Nothing doing for everyone. Bottom of the eighth. Quantrill pitches. Sanders singles. Rodriguez misplays the ground ball. Maffini hits a double play. Runner goes to third. Ray Langford comes in the pinch hit and gets a double to score Sanders to make it 5-4. Kenyon Sturts comes in the pitch and gets Womack to man out. No big deal. Kiku Calero comes in the pitch. Bernie grounds out. Tony Clark strikes out. Cairo gets a single. John Olerud comes in the pinch hit and strikes out. And then after Rivera comes in, Walker walks. He steals second. Pujols strikes out. Rodriguez boots a grounder, first and third, and Scott Rowland gets plunked. So Reggie Sanders comes in, hits a single to score Walker, and then Sheffield's late throw home got Emmons to score, and the Cardinals win 6-5 and avoid the sweep. Here's a marquee pitches game 4 against Jose Contreras. And in the end, the Cardinals win 10-6, so they take their 2 games at home. Edmonds goes deep in the first. Posada grounds out to score Contreras. Cairo gets a single to score Matsui to tie the game at 2. I thought they'd get rid of Cairo. Let's say sign it back. Renteria singles Roland. Marquis gets a 2 RBI double. Hey, Jason. 5-2. But then the fifth, everything takes a turn for the worse. Jeter doubles, Posada walks, and then Sheffield hits a 3-run home run, meaning Marquis has to come out of the game, and Dan Heron comes in. Womack makes a bad throw. Sheffield flies out, and then Bernie gets a double score Matsui. Scott Rowland hits a 2-run home run, make it 7-6 in the bottom of the fifth, and Odog Hernandez has to come in. In the end, well, it was 7-6. Maffini grounded out. John Mabry comes in the pinch hit, but a throwing error by Jeter screws him. Mabry gets picked up, though. Then Womack does single and sweeps second, and then scores on Walker's bloop single. Sturts comes in the pitch. Walker sweeps the base, and Pujols hits a 2-run tater tot to make it 10-6. Julian Tavares comes in the pitch. Not a safe situation, but he gets Matsui, A-Rod, and Bernie out. Marquis pitch 4, he does not get the win. Heron pitches 3 and will win the game. Klein and Tavares. Close save 4 in the third. Odog 1.2. Gordon 2/3. Quantrill pitched an inning and Sturts pitched 1 out. So it's 2-2 headed to Woody Williams versus Mike Mussina. Right? Yeah. It's the double M versus double W's. Game 5 sees the trend of the home team happen again as the Cardinals win, and now the Yankees have to win 2 games at home. Matsui goes DB2, make it 2-0. And then Messina gets an RBI single to help his own cause, being Cairo. Bernie scores Matsui 4-0. It was like all over. Thinking the Yankees were going to go back home with a 3-2 lead. Sanders doubled. Renteria grounded out. Runner still at second. Maffini scores Sanders. Mabry comes in to pinch hit. Tom Gordon comes in to pitch. Walks Mabry. Womack singles. Bases loaded. Walker lines out. Okay, you got 2 outs. But then Pujols hits a double to get everybody home. Maffini, Mabry, and Womack. Quantrill comes in to try to stem the tide. Edmonds hits a single. Rowland singles to Pujols home, and Sanders singles to score Edmonds. Sturts has to come in for the last out, the 7th. In the 9th, Israelhausen comes in for the save. Clark strikes out. Cairo grounds out, and Kenny Lofton flies out. Woody goes 6 innings, doesn't get the decision. Klein with the win. Tavares with the 8th, and Israelhausen win the 9th. The Yankees Mussina 6 and a third. Tom Gordon completely shits the bed. Paul Quantrill also shits the bed with the infinite ERA, and Sturts has to finish the game off. So the Yankees go home with their tails between their legs. Kevin Brown has to pitch against Matt Morris. Will the Cardinals win Game 6? The answer is yes, they do. The Cardinals with the big win All the home teams won, but the Yankees could not win Game 6 as the Cardinals come back from a 2-0 deficit to take care of the Yankees, putting the Yankees in a deeper hole than you think. Well, Pujols hit a double to score Mabry. Jim Edmonds went DP2 to make it 3-0. Posada doubles to score Jeter, and Matsui flies out sac fly Posada. A-Rod gets a 2-run home run in the bottom of the third. 4-3. Womack triples Marlon Anderson home. John Mabry hits a home run 6-4. The old dog comes in. Orlando Hernandez. Freddie Williams hits a 2 RBI double to tie the game. Danny Herron comes in to pitch. Clark singles Williams, and Cairo doubles score Clark. 8-6. Sanders home runs 8-7, making Gordon come in to pitch. So it's 8-7 Yankees, no big deal. Womack singles in the seventh. Mabry singles. Pujols walks. Contrell comes in to pitch, but Edmonds hits a single score. Womack and Mabry, Yankees. Cardinals now lead. Roland singles, bases loaded. Sanders, 2 RBIs to get Pujols, and Edmonds. Sturts has to come in to pitch. Renteria scores Roland with a single. Marlon Anderson singles score Sanders. Maffini flies out the first. Womack singles to right to score Renteria. Proctor has to come in to pitch. Mabry walks. Pujols grounds out to score Marlon Anderson. That doesn't seem right. Oh, shoot. I forgot to take Mabry out for Walker. Because technically, I was supposed to take him out. Joey Walker was the starter. Nevertheless, it was over anyway. Bottom of the eighth, Posada hits a 2-run home run. Klein comes in to pitch, 15-10. Tavares comes in for the final 3 outs against Bernie, Tony, and Cairo. So the Yankees still lose anyway. I think the Cardinals would have won anyway. Yeah, the Cardinals probably would have won anyway. So Gordon gets the loss after all. Well, Brown and Hernandez. Gordon loses. Quantrill gets a blown save and an infinity ERA again. Sturts pitches terribly. Proctor does 2 2/3 innings. Matt Morris does not reach the 5 innings, so he doesn't get the win. Herron does. Klein and Tavares. I think that's like 3 wins for Danny Herron or something. But yeah, the Cardinals would have taken care of the New York Yankees, and well, they would have. The curse of Bambino would have still been around, but the Cardinals would have got their title, giving Larry Walker the World Series title he deserved from 10 years prior when baseball strike happened. So that's all I've got for today. I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.